Welcome back to another MGLA Nats recap video. I'm Constantine, Pringlesman123 on the Discord, and today I'm joined by our U.S. Nationals finalist, the one and only Cory Nelson.
Absolutely. Daddy spelled ooh in most of the Discords.
Yes. I when we first started talking on Discord, I was like, who the fuck is that? But for the topic I was like hoping to focus on, like broad stroke today, I want to simplify this to like how you stuck with your Recovery Girl deck, right? You sort of one-tricked it at a lot of events, and in doing so, you saw a lot of success with it these past, both in Nationals and in the events leading up to it, right?
I don't know about leading up to it. I did absolutely shit ass in St. Louis and Atlanta.
Well, so like you won the Webcam Warriors event, right?
If you want to count that.
I count it. I was so happy for my friend Cory winning that. I was like, this is the coolest. Recovery Girl's so awesome. So I think starting point is kind of, the history of this deck, like how it came together. So if you want to, just kind of start us off.
Yeah, so it started because I don't like Godzilla. Blocking Determined Advance is a losing position. I think I've been on camera like 4 or 5 times saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better to just not do it.
Yeah.
And then I figured all of these other stupid big moves, what if they're just not blocked? What if you just don't block? And you just take 2 damage? Because no one is stringing 15 moves for 2 damage.
Yeah, they just can't do it. And honestly, even if they could, I'm assuming you can still survive it. Just with some of the life game tricks.
40.
Yeah. So you talked about Godzilla with the Determined Advance. So like, were you thinking about Recovery Girl back? Was it as early as AOT set 1? Like, is that when you started thinking about her, or was it before? Or
yeah, so AOT set 1 kind of kicked it off. I know the very first iteration of the deck was just resets with like Ymir's Regeneration and
Desperate Struggle.
Yeah, so it was Ymir's Regeneration, Desperate Struggle, and then there's like one other really shitty life gain foundation that you had access to in AOT set 1. And that was just like the best way to do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was testing Open Wide, Midst of Despair. Both of those suck. And I ended up playing like not big attacks and just played like cool high zone Falling Skies RG. That deck sucked. That was awful.
Yeah, it was stuff like Battle Orders Release and like Tasty Rift, right? Or was that one not in there?
Yep. So no Tasty Rift because Check-in 2 sucks. But
yeah, we
did play Meteor for Hotskis for a little while. That was a cool one.
Yeah, it just ends up being so much damage. And so, yeah, so you were thinking about it back in AOT set 1, and then, Mac beating the shit out of you with Determined Advance on Godzilla was, that was like, this blocking stuff is just not working right now. And yeah, if anyone's played against Recovery Girl, I'm sure they know, like, she does not need a block, and Determined Advance, like, who cares about that one? I know the other day you had mentioned Travis in regards to like staying on this deck. Where exactly did that come from? Like, how did Travis influence you in this Recovery Girl deck?
So during our testing weekend, and I think it was after that while we were doing the locals, he went, wait, why aren't we playing the recuperation time package in this? And I just deadpanned him and said I was too lazy to pick the cards out and put it in. So that's how we ended up with that. And that was really like his influence on the deck was like making me fix it so that we were like good and ready to go. I know leading up to the event, Travis and Nate were trying to convince me to switch off to Good in Life. And I was like, no, we got to nut up. I've been playing this and torturing you guys.
Yeah, what was it all for if we didn't stick to our guns for the water symbol, right?
Right. Good old desperate struggle, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the good ones, right? It's one of the fantastic resets of that deck. And with the recuperation time stuff, like, I'm sure that was a big deal in changing just how crazy it was to survive whatever attack string was thrown at you over the weekend.
Oh, yeah. I've been pretty public in saying I can count the amount of last second rescues I used on one hand, like throughout the entire weekend, because you just take 1 for 15, and then every other move that they send is going to be for like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much control where you want it to land.
Yeah. And then I guess we'll get to it in the tournament run, but I'm fairly certain you didn't see any Dekus in the tournament, right? Like, you didn't run into any of them during at least that's who I think of when I think of a one-shot character.
Yeah. Not during Nats. I did run into one like round 1 or 2 of the Webcam Warriors thing, and I cooked that guy.
Yeah. At least from your perspective, it's a little retired now because Recovery Girl got hit, but sort of what was that match like? Like, what exactly makes you so confident into the poster child of one-shotting Deku on the move?
Oh, I was not confident at all. That is like one of the 3 bad matchups for the deck. And like, if they poke and you see multiple desperate struggles, maybe you can out-answer their answers, but that's it. You need to build like 4 desperate struggles and hope that they don't have 4 response cancels.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, like, in that matchup you played in the Webcam Warriors, you just, like, you got what you needed, right?
Yeah, he just poked. And I said, okay.
Gotcha. And so I guess coming back to Nats, we have this history of the deck. You've been thinking about it since like set 1 of AOT, working on it since then. What was your goal leading into the event? So like the week before Nats, Sunday, Monday, whatever, we're getting ready to go. What's going through your head?
I played exactly 1 game with this deck into Mimic and had 12 people yelling at me how to play the deck and lost it. And I said, I'm going to show up and play retro for the weekend. I'm going to be team support, have a good time with my girlfriend, and play retro.
And as we now know, you definitely did not get to play that much retro with how you performed over the weekend, right?
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not.
We do what we can.
Yeah. We have as much fun as we possibly can. Someone's got to in the tournament, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna kind of start going through the Swiss rounds, I guess. So like day 1, what was sort of like rounds 1 through 4 for you? I have the names of the people you played against, if that helps you remember, but I couldn't see. I didn't pull up what decks they were on.
Yeah. So round 1 was good. It was a fun little guy playing Byakko who got super salty, scooped his deck up, left it on the table after I beat him in game 1 of overtime because I realized his deck was this big and not this big. So I couldn't mill him out like the usual Byakko game plan.
Gotcha.
So I just murdered him for Exaxes. And then like, round 2...
Wait, like 1 move for 38? Sorry.
Not 1 move for 38. I think I did like a 15 and a 15.
Okay. Yeah, the recuperation time stuff.
Yep.
And
I said, just get me low enough and I'll kill you.
Yeah.
So he did the job. He was super pissed off that I killed him in overtime for game 1. Round 2 was uneventful because I don't remember it.
If I tell you the name of the person, does it help or no?
Do you have it? It might.
Their name was Keith G. Didn't have the last name on Ultra.
Nope.
Or on UVS games. Okay.
Nothing. So round 2, I don't know. Probably just murdered him.
I think it was 2-0. I'll go. I have the website open real quick. Let me peek and see if I can find it. They were Himiko Toga 3.
No. Oh yes, that was a cool one. He set my life to 1, and I gained all of my health back.
He said you for 29 in one move.
Oh,
or
it was a lot. It was a lot more than 29. I said,
God.
"Here's this Titan injection I built."
Oh my goodness!
Last second rescue. Bam, we're back.
Oh hell yeah!
So that was last second rescue number 1.
Mm-hmm. But also Titan injection getting to show up, right? Because I imagine that one doesn't always happen in all your games.
No, I think that was the only time it happened.
Gotcha. Hell yeah.
Most of the time, you don't get low enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's too easy. We don't need the safety net.
It is that easy.
But hell yeah, Titan injection to win the game. And so that was round 2 into Toga, and then we're coming into round 3, right?
Yeah, round 3 was a cool one. That was probably one of my favorite moments of the entire tournament. I got to watch a man's life drain before my eyes.
Yeah, and so that one also happens to be in a stream VOD because you played against Tam Cardwell, resident content creator for the game, and he was on Ymir, right?
Yep. Yeah, he was on like Haymaker. He was on Titan Ymir, so it was like Haymaker's the 8 diff that gets -2 difficulty. None of it mattered. Absolutely nothing in that game mattered. I sat down across from him and said, "You're a worse human being than me. Now die." No. Yeah. Game 1 was funny. He drew like 6 orange, turn 2, and just dropped me to like 13. And I said, "Holy shit, this is 2 sword get longers. Die. Here's your life total. You can't block anything."
Yeah, so each one was for 4, right? It was like tap for 4 damage. Oh, sorry, you said the attack. So I was thinking of the enormous axe.
Yep. Yeah, so like I had an axe, I had a recoup time, and I had 1 thing to break and gain life, and I was just like, cool, that's enough.
Yep. Yeah, it just counts 23.
And then game 2 was... I didn't even have to count to 23, because his string was like dual needle lunge, fucking cut himself.
Mm-hmm.
He did most of the work.
Yeah, the
and then
life
game
loss
2,
in that deck
we had a real fun moment.
Yeah, let the people know.
Yeah, game 2, he had a real bad time. I had the eternal words of Jacob Johnson sitting in the back of my head of, if they can't kill you, they can't win the game. So I just never sent a move.
That is true.
Didn't need to kill him. I said, I'm a game up.
Yeah. I think it was, he had 7 attacks in his hand,
now you
right?
have to try and kill me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he had like 7 attacks, and 3 or 4 of them were like handpicked, like whatever the 5 diff foundation is that gets to pick one up from discard. He just picked up like 4.
Mm.
It was crazy. And he just laid him out and said, "Yeah, you got it."
Yeah, so obviously it sucked for him to face against this monstrosity of a deck, but something that like I always feel so vindicated when I get to see people bitch about Recovery Girl, because I have hated that. I have hated her since I feel like she came out. And so if anyone watches, I don't know if he mentions it in his own recap video, but I know on stream at least, right after the round, he talks to some people, and he's complaining about Recovery Girl, and I just felt so vindicated about it. Like, yes, this character is crazy. Like, why haven't they done anything about her? Obviously, there has been something done now, so we finally got there.
Sad day.
We'll get you something else. We'll get something else to drain the souls of your opponents. Then this is going to be the last round of day 1, I believe, right? So round 4. Do you remember what it was?
I don't.
Oh, all right. Let's see if we can
use remember
some technology to find this. They were playing Bert, Living Weapon.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a death deck, I think.
Yes,
yeah, it looks like
that was the round I got deck checked and got a game loss for my deck box.
Oh,
so we had a funny time extension. Yep. The game was like, I don't know. Again, I just sat down from him and said, I'm playing an entirely different game than you are.
Mm-hmm.
You are simply not on the right wavelength to play this game today.
Yeah, against Bert, you would just kind of so manly them forever and like gain all the health back, right?
Yeah, I think he transformed in game 2, didn't make it game 1. It was that easy.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
going into Bert, you just mill him out game 1. You just say, okay, no matter what you do, everything is going to be for 2. You're going to be playing on +6 progressive. Yeah. I'm at full health.
Yeah, if nothing else, the Recovery Girl deck for sure was prepared for Bert. You were never losing to Bert with that deck.
Oh, never.
Mm-hmm.
And then beginning of the round, we got deck checked randomly.
Mm-hmm.
I got called for my deck box. I was told, don't bring this back. And got a game violation for it. That was super fun. Shout out Paul, greatest judge ever.
Was he the one that told you this one's no good?
Yep. He caught me day 2 and was like, hey man, I wasn't trying to be mean or anything, and I was like, hey, screw you. You're cool though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they started cracking down on some of the content, I guess, on some of these like deck boxes or playmats.
Yeah, there was some like crazy person who had like a naked mount lady sticker on their deck box. Yeah, that one was fucking crazy. I didn't get to see it, but
well, I'm assuming they also got they get to use the deck box, but that's the end of round or day 1, right? We played our 4 rounds. I think you're XO at this point, right?
Yep.
And so
ended 4-0, didn't drop a game. Was feeling good.
Yeah, and so let's like talk about that. So like going into day 2, because this was a different format, right? You've never played in an event like this where we had Swiss split between the days.
So not for UVS. I have done it for Magic.
Oh, okay.
And I think after every round, I asked my opponents how they felt about like the 2-day structure or the 3-day structure, and it was pretty evenly divided between like half of them felt good, half of them didn't really like it. I know playing my deck, I was like, hell yeah, I get to go and relax and eat. And even though like I turned my brain off at the start of every match, I get to now turn it off even more.
Yeah, because if you had all 9 rounds in one day, like you were for sure playing all like an hour and 10 minutes of the game, right? Like there wouldn't be break time.
Yeah, no. I did it. We got some matches done pretty like relatively quickly, which thank God.
Yes, yeah.
No one's ever prepared for the 3-high 17.
You just throw a big enough move and they'll explode.
Yep.
And so I guess then you're feeling good at the end of day 1, going into day 2. And so we start day 2, round 5. I think it's against Tony Hevia. I think I'm not butchering his last name right. Or was it a different Tony?
Yep. No, it was Tony Hevia, Mr. Judge Guy Tony.
Yeah.
He fucking cooked me. He ate me alive. This was the second bad matchup that we knew about. I was pretty close to getting him to cycle, and then like once we hit that first cycle, we're pretty confident. And then he sort of figured out what to do. Sent a Kraken. Froze my condescending explanation, so I couldn't flip his Colossus detonation, and then caped his own Kraken, so it didn't hit, so I couldn't break it, rebuild it. And then Colossus detonationed and said, hey, I figured this out. And then game 2, I went, oh shit, we have like 10 minutes.
Yeah, if you lose game 1 with her, it can be pretty cooked. But that's a really heads-up play from Tony. I didn't know that's how that one went. That's pretty sick. Like, caping your own move.
Yeah, super cool. He kicked me in the face. And I said, oh, you got it, dog.
Yeah, and in case anyone watching isn't familiar with the cards in Tony's deck, that was Recovery Girl versus Mimic. Okay, so first loss to the tournament, that's fine. We can afford one of those, in a 9-round tournament. So then going into round 6, I believe you played against Christos Panos, right?
Yep. So Christos was on a really cool front face Burt deck, like Mitch was on. He
was it also the fire
besides
symbol,
Tony was the closest person. No, he was still on death, and he mainboarded Heroes Upbringing, which he ended up Heroes Upbringing me for a turn, and it was good enough to get me down to 3. And then, like, at that point, he couldn't kill me and had to pass. Yeah. So it was just like, take the game over from there. You've dropped me enough health that I can start regaining. And just everything is for one. Have fun.
Yeah.
And then once you go to sideboard, like the Burt matchup gets 10 times easier because you're bringing in the same thing they're bringing in. And you just say, we're both 5-handers. I get to build more than you. And my Heroes Upbringings have better defensive values than yours do offensive value.
Yeah. And you can also struggling with studies pick it up, right?
Yep. Which, that was something that came up against Tam. Like, he had a... whatever the Deku action cancel asset was.
Oh,
and I was explaining this to Andrew Porat, too. Yeah. So he had a tattered costume, canceled a Hero's Upbringing. He incredible display to Hero's Upbringing. I played a Jury. He canceled that one, and I had 2 struggling with studies, and I said, okay, your turn's over, you're checkmated. Because now they're both in my pool, and I can just pick them up.
Yeah, that was always a messed up thing about her in her interactions with struggling with studies. Just being able to like loop any of the actions that you play, as long as they stay in your card pool.
Yep.
Okay, and so, yeah, as we talked about, the Burt matchup is not scary at all, so we get round 6. Going to round 7, do you remember the...
Light work.
Yes. Do you remember your round 7 opponent, or Joseph Z as your opponent? I think it was a Let's Talk.
At this point, it's all pretty, like... Oh, yes. Okay. Yep. So that guy, super cool. Love him. He had really cool painted nails. I think they were different each day of the weekend. He went, and I believe it was him, bought my entire Webcam Warriors deck the morning of the tournament. And played it.
Wait, so you guys were playing the mirror?
Ice. Yep. So we had the mirror.
Wow.
Yep. And everything stopped at like turn 5 or 6 because I said, I'm just going to build one and pass. And I know this. I've played the mirror before. I probably know it better than you. And I'll just mill you out. Like, I'm going to put the onus on you to try and deal with things because I have more ways to reset my bin than you have ways to reset yours. I know your entire deck list by heart. He was playing like 1 or 2 different cards, and it just, none of it mattered.
Yeah, I mean that's like the worst case scenario for somebody. Like they net deck a really good deck and then show up against the guy that made it, right? Like, so makes sense. Another light work round. I think we're coming close to the end on the Swiss rounds, right? So we have round 8 against Robert T. Do you remember that round right before? Or?
So, yes, that guy was super cool. Shout out him. Honestly, the nicest person I played against literally all weekend, and everyone was super cool. But him specifically, he was on Throws Genkai.
Oh.
And he... yeah. He was the Throws Genkai guy. He sat across from me and was like, yo, I didn't think I'd be doing this good. And this is so cool. And I was like, yo, I heard about your deck. It's the coolest fucking thing in the room.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, dog. You only put damage on things.
Your deck's so cool. Anyway, here's the wall.
Yep. So game 1, I killed him. It was relatively short. Game 2, he kept an active count of how many times he attacked me. Like how many times he actually dealt damage. And I think we had 27 attacks that connected before time.
Just in the one game 2?
And I was... Yeah, just in game 2.
Holy... Oh my god.
Like, when you're playing... Or when you played the RG deck, your turns were quick. It was like you send one, you build, you pass, you're done.
Yeah.
You're putting everything on your opponent not to push into time.
Yeah, because you can... If you win game 1, it's just super over for them. Like there's no way they can win in the time frame that's left over.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. But I didn't realize you played against the Genkai guy. That's super cool. Yeah, that deck is awesome.
Yeah. He was so cool. Like, honest to God, coolest fucking dude ever. He was so happy. I was so happy I played against him.
Nice. And then I guess this is where we're wrapping up Swiss, right? So round 9 wasn't a game, right? Because it was, I believe you intentionally drew for that one, right? You guys didn't even play it out?
Yep. Yeah, so I ID'd with Borat. We were sitting next to Nate DeWalt and someone else, and we were all doing the math to figure out who could ID in. And me and Andrew knew that we could. I think there was some miscommunication with Nate and his guy, and they ended up playing it out. I believe if they drew, they were both in. And if that had happened, I wasn't against Porat first thing in the morning tomorrow. Or that Sunday. Yeah. But that's not what happened. So I'm sitting there with Porat showing him all the changes to my deck and like going through it. And he's like, yeah, man, I have no idea what to do against your deck. How do you beat it? Like, what are the things I can do into this matchup? And I was like, well, here's some things. Other than that, I really don't know. Like, hopefully we don't meet tomorrow. And then all the math happened, Top Cut happened, and I was his first opponent in the morning. And he sat down, and I was like, sorry, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... So, for those that don't know, you and Andrew Porat played in finals for the Webcam Warrior, right?
Yep. Yeah, I am probably in this guy's nightmares now.
So back then in Webcam Warriors,
beat the shit out of me. He beat the shit out of me in Swiss in the Webcam Warriors, and then we met in the finals. And I said, okay, win game 1, you win game 2, or like one of us won game 1, and then I won the next 2, or I won some combination. But the final round, I was like, okay, you beat me in Swiss, I'm going to mill you out now. And that's what happened.
Sorry about the any technical difficulties. We're coming back here. I was saying how crazy it is that you and Andrew have played 4 times in this like month time span, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just sometimes you just can't dodge your worst matchup. So unfortunately for him, in top cuts, it was a 2-0 and apparently the fastest one in the tournament in the top 16, right?
Yep. So first one done, he played his hands perfectly correct. He built turn 1. It was like a 3 or 4, maybe 5 on one of the games. And then just opened orange and just sent it all. And I was like, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Knocked me low enough. And game 1, I sent a Grish's for 15 and a Jaw Titan or a Sword Get Longer. And I said, here, die. And then game 2, the exact same thing happened. But he went to no cards in hand, and he was like, if you got it, you got it. Because, like, this is my only out.
Yeah.
And I just said, double Sword Get Longer. You're at, like, 17. You're dead.
Yeah. Just some damage pump in stage with, like, recoup or enormous axe.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's the recovery girl matchup, right? Sort of that, like, 90-10 where you hope something, like, astronomically weird can go right for you.
Yeah.
And then
that was...
What were you going to say?
He got absolutely cooked.
Yeah. It was funny. He posted in the Discord the night before about... I think he wanted to play in the Teams event. I wanted to know what time it was. And I don't know if he got to play in it, but he made it sound like it was not going to work because playing against RG would be a nightmare. But you guys are fast enough. You guys had it figured out. And then
I did a funny thing and collected dog tags throughout top cuts.
Oh, that's sick.
It was Mr. Porat saying, this deck sucks. Here's my top 8. Good old Clinton Thomas with the big negative player experience. And Ryan with a happy face because he didn't want to write anything mean.
Dude, that's awesome. I didn't know about that. Yeah, we have the top 8 against Clinton is streamed, so people can watch that game. I'm going to try and get the Twitch VOD timestamped in the description of the vid just so people can like easily watch it. But so like, what about your game in Orion? Because we didn't get to see that one on any of the stream setup.
Yeah, so Ryan, again, I saw good old Jake Johnson going up to this game, and he said, "If I don't know how he kills you," and I said, "Okay, that works. If he can't kill me, I'll mill him out." And that's what happened game 1. I touched deadlock, and he screwed me a little bit, but I figured out I could make him, because he had a hero killer first form. So I figured out that we could only stun the same 2 foundations every single time he played an attack with an axe and a face down, and then make every single attack for 1. So like, he did giant string at some point. He was like, okay, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Went to game 2, and game 2 we both just like hyper deadlocked. And I think after the match I mathed it out because he was trying to just get 4 focus attacks in hand to just start committing shit down.
Yeah.
And I think I had exactly enough answers because I had 2 juries in hand on the turn that he would have won in. I think I had all 4 surprising skills.
Jesus.
And like 2 struggling with studies. So like no matter what, everything was going to be not for giant focus attack damage.
Yeah.
But like after, because he cycled once, got rid of 1 focus attack and said, I think I can still do this. And then he cycled a second time, and I think that one had 2. And he just went, okay, I can't do this, and scooped it up.
Yeah.
But there was a real funny moment that I heard about after that match. Because in between every match, I was like running to the bathroom to hit the vape and piss.
Such is the control deck life.
Yeah, such is the control deck life. So my Top Cut match with Ryan, finished game 1. I was like, hey, other Ryan, Mr. Field, I got to use the bathroom. And he was like, okay, you're just going to have less time for sideboarding. And I said, I already know what I'm doing.
Yeah. You have the plan.
Ran to the bathroom, hit the vape, downloaded the match into my brain, and came back even worse for him. And just went, you can't kill me. I'm up a game.
Yeah, the downloaded him thing was crazy. You hit the vape and it just triggered the neurons. You knew exactly what you needed to do.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And then we're kind of winding down here. And then also your game into Travis was on stream, right? It was finals. So anyone who wants to watch that, you can see the outcome of it. Do you have anything you want to say about that matchup that people wouldn't know from the gameplay on stream?
There is no gameplay. Literally, you flounder, you do nothing, and then you die. There's not a thing that you can do as RG into that deck.
Yeah.
I think you're going to do Travis's interview and bring up the notebook. Yeah.
Yes, the singular. Well, it's your story to tell too, right? Because we had the testing weekend, and I remember you said you had one note from the weekend, which.
Yeah, I had a tiny notebook. It's here somewhere. Whenever I've done like testing, like in-person testing for Magic stuff, I always like to have a little notebook and take like little handwritten notes as games go for like just ideas.
Yeah.
And I had exactly one note, and it was solely because of Travis, and it just said, don't get stunned out. Turns out there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
There was a incredibly small chance that I went up, played game 1, and just scooped game 2 for the bit. But
that would have been funny. But we got to see the game in its glory. We got to see universes as it was intended.
For someone.
Yeah. But so we're kind of winding down here on time. You stuck with this deck since since AOT set 1, and you really got to see just about like the most success you could see with the deck. Winning the Webcam Warriors, almost winning Nationals, the thing in your roadblock being another teammate who it was no surprise that Recovery Girl wasn't good into that one. You have any closing thoughts or anything else you want to add at the end of this?
Yeah. I went through all of the Ultra deck lists, and as it turns out, I'm the single highest placing Recovery Girl in the world, so screw anyone else. The good symbol on RG always sucked. Whoever did that, they were wrong. That weekend was super cool. I showed up playing a completely different game than everybody else in the room, and it paid off.
Yeah, it sure did.
We're going to Worlds, doing Disney. That's going to be awesome.
Hell yeah.
And hopefully I get to play some retro during Worlds weekend.
And if the reason you don't is because you did well in Worlds weekend, then, just running it back.
Whatever. Yeah, we're just running it back.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this one. Just some quick shout outs, make sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check out the MGLA website that's going to be linked in the bottom. I'll try to have the Twitch VODs from some of these games time-stamped in the description if anyone wants to watch some games. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.